Obedience breeds discipline. Discipline breeds unity. Unity breeds power. Power is life. Thanks to Trailer 3 of Resident Evil Village, I was left with a lot of new questions as to what exactly is going on for the next game. What happened to Chris? Why does he want Ethan's daughter? Who's the tall vampire lady? Is Umbrella making a comeback? After going through theory after theory in my head, I couldn't decide on what made sense anymore. That is, until I remembered this key art Capcom gave us a few months back. So what exactly is this thing? A lot of people have been speculating that it's some sort of fetus, and honestly, it might as well be. It looks very human-like. Thanks to this article I found on gamesclub.com by Vlad, he was able to point out that this fetus may not be a fetus at all, but a mandrake root. Mandrakes are herbaceous plants that have flowers and grow very thick roots within the ground. Because these roots look like human figures, they have been often associated with superstitions with many cultures, specifically within the Romanian culture where Village is taking place. Mandrakes are used for medicinal purposes, however, they can be very toxic and contain hallucinogenic properties if one is to consume a large amount of it. There are many versions as to what mandrake roots were used for within folktales. It is often associated with witchcraft and magic, specifically in European witchcraft. It is said that mandrakes were used for mind-altering spells. Mind-altering spells that came from a plant, huh? Now, why does that sound so familiar? In 1966, Dr. Marcus developed a hypothesis on the mythical West African flower known as the Stairway to the Sun. It was said to have given powers to its consumers by mutagenic viral infection. This plant would later on become what started this whole video game series, the T-Virus Project. Looking at these screenshots for Village, it seems Umbrella has a connection to this place. There's a lot of speculation that one of the founding members may have had an old connection here, possibly to the 4 noble houses that seem to be in control of this area. So, what could be so special about this mandrake root? Looking at these family crests, they all represent a noble house that seems to be in control of the village. And I'm very sorry, but I'm probably going to be butchering all these names, so please forgive me. House Dimitrescu, House Heisenberg, House Morio, and House Benevenito. Since there isn't much to go off on with the other 3 houses, I'll only be focusing on House Dimitrescu as Lady Alcina was mainly featured in the new trailer and demo. Aside from the fact that Lady Alcina is meant to be a vampire, it is pretty noticeable that she looks different compared to her daughters. This is why I believe Lady Alcina is some form of tyrant. Her height is abnormally tall, looking over 9 feet. She has a gray, sickly complexion, as well as markings all over her body, similar to other tyrants like Mr. X. She also has retractable claws coming out of her right hand. That trait is not uncommon with tyrants as well. Within the maiden demo, there are notes dating back to 1950, which could indicate that Lady Alcina is at least 70 years old. Given her youthly appearance, this could be another side effect of having a long life from the progenitor virus. I also couldn't help but notice the way her footsteps sounded.
Well, Ethan Winters, you escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you?
This may be overthinking it, but the way that they sound seems too similar to Mr. X and Nemesis from Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake.
You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you?
Could this be another T-Virus-like mutation, and that's why Umbrella's logos are within the village? But what about Lady Alcina's vampiric persona? Is she even a vampire? Throughout the maiden demo, it's evident that Lady Alcina captures and murders multiple women in order to create her wine, called the Sanguis Virginis, which means maiden's blood. She seems to be inspired by real-life serial killer Countess Elizabeth Bathory. She was a Hungarian noblewoman who had killed hundreds of young girls between 1590 and 1610. It was believed that she had vampiric tendencies and rumored to have bathed in blood of her victims in order to keep her youth. It seems Lady Alcina's vampiric tendencies may have been subjected to something similar as the Countess's. Maybe she was never a vampire, but someone who partook in vampire activities like drink blood and bathe in it. Rumors took place and gave her this supernatural persona until the mandrake root was involved, which truly transformed her into a vampire tyrant. And as I mentioned earlier, mandrakes have a hallucinogenic effect which she could have used to transform other women into her daughters, giving her the ability to control them. Another thing I found interesting is the meaning of the names Alcina and Dimitrescu. Alcina of Greek origin means strong-willed, while Dimitrescu comes from the Greek word Dimitrios, which is derived from the name of the Greek goddess Demeter, which means Earth Mother. Looking further into it, Alcina is actually the title of an opera seria by George Frederick Handel, which is about a beautiful sorceress by the name of Alcina. She and her sister Morgana lived in an island where Alcina would seduce passing sailors, and once she was done with them, she would transform them into plants, rocks, and animals. This moves on to the next part of my theory, and it involves Chris Redfield. Seeing Chris in the trailers has really confused me. Not only did he shoot Mia, he kidnaps their daughter and gives them to the enemy. Why would he do that? From knowing him throughout the series, Chris always tries to do the right thing, and if Umbrella is involved, the old Umbrella, there's no way in hell Chris would side with them. Unless he's meant to be a red herring. It's very likely that he may have been infected with this mandrake virus. Looking at the cover art for the game, it shows Chris covered in what seems to be blood, as well as half of his face is morphed into a wolf's head. A lot of people in the community think that Chris is one of the werewolves that is chasing Ethan through the trailers. And given what I've been discussing so far, I truly believe Chris may have been transformed into one against his will. On the official website, it mentions that Ethan and Mia are under the protection of the BSAA. If they were living within the village or near it, it could mean that they were placed here on purpose by Blue Umbrella. Remember how they hired the BSAA at the end of Resident Evil 7? My assumption is that Chris and the BSAA came here looking into another tip about Umbrella Corporation's involvement with the noble houses of the village. Chris and his team may have been overwhelmed and somehow consumed a high amount of mandrake, which, as I said, has mind-altering hallucinogenic properties and is under the direct control of either Lady Dimitrescu or Mother Miranda. Now, there's barely anything on Mother Miranda so far. The only things I could find out about her were from this trailer, her phone call with Lady Alcina, and the screenshot on the official Resident Evil Twitter. So everything I'm about to say is just pure speculation on symbolism of what could be found within the village and folklore legends. Looking up the meaning of the name Miranda, the Latin origin means worthy of admiration. Whoever Mother Miranda is, she is the utmost importance and someone who is in control of everything, including the noble houses. She needs all the heads of the houses to help her prepare for some sort of ritual. Aside from that, her title as Mother has also intrigued me. In Romanian folklore, there is a woman named, again I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, I'm very sorry, Mama Padrui, also known as Mother of the Forest. She is said to be a very ugly and mischievous or mad woman living in the forest. She is the protector of animals and plants. It is said that she cures the forest if it is dying and keeps away any trespassers by driving them mad or scaring them. The interesting bit is, depending on who's telling the story, she isn't inherently good or evil. Based on this folklore, it's possible this is how the people of the village came into contact with the mandrake root and come to worship it. Mother Miranda may have been a healer of the village, someone who took care of not only the people but the animals of the forest. She may have come across the mandrake roots within the forest and used them as medicine without realizing the properties it holds. Consuming the root, she was mutated by the progenitor virus, which gave her supernatural powers, and perhaps changed her good intentions to something sinister. So, that's my little speculation on the new virus for Resident Evil Village. I know this is not a lot to go off on, and of course there's plenty of other theories within the community about different things. I'm excited to see what will happen in the next game. Clearly, Capcom is bringing back its old roots of the original Resident Evil lore with Umbrella, so I'm very excited to see them back into the series, along with the new enemies like the vampires and the werewolves, but I have a feeling there's a reason for it, and I do think that the mandrakes may be causing a lot of hallucinations for Ethan and the other characters, so maybe there's no werewolves or vampires whatsoever, but we'll have to see what happens. If you guys have any theories of your own, I would love to discuss it with you in the comments, so remember to leave a comment down below, subscribe and hit the bell button so you know when I upload my Let's Play for Resident Evil Village. And if you guys would like to support the channel and videos like this, please check out my Patreon, that is patreon.com/AGirlAndAGame. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!